Well, here I am, back at my favorite garden, and as you can see, the devil's walking stick has definitely filled out somewhat since our last visit. Things have really popped up, and the barren strawberry is starting to come into bloom. And hopefully we'll end up with a nice solid yellow carpet soon. We ended up with a very heavy rainstorm about 2 or 3 hours ago, and you can still hear the wind rather strongly. I think there's another wave coming in soon. This little white iris is called Elfin Queen. She's one of my dwarves. And this is the pink pewter in bloom, the lamium. As you can see, it's starting to fill out the entire slope. And then on top we have the Solomon seals with those little white bells. These here all along the front, these little tiny guys, are all Galliarda or blanket flowers. And looks like the geraniums are definitely blooming. This is the Spessart that's here in the white. I'm particularly fond of them because they have these cute little red beaks after they finish blooming, which are add sort of a nice after season touch. These here that look like, I got a mixture of both chives and nodding onions. These ones that already have the buds in them are the chives. And then further along I have the nodding onions in the more sunnier spots. Again, this is my one of my black irises. It's about to, this is actually cherry smoke. And she's probably going to come into bloom in the next week or two. And you can see that the hostas have finally woken up and started to come out. And that Daphne Rosemarie is blooming for all she's worth and looking very pretty. She seems to love it in her new spot. And as you can see, the asters have plumped up quite a bit. They're one of our late season plants. And the little Baptisia, this is one of our yellow Baptisias. It's starting to get all, oh, and it's actually already got little bloom stalks starting on it. Yeah, wow. And then along the front here, these are sundrops. They're sort of a kind of a June, July flower. And these are our red pasque flowers, sorry. Yeah, and this little iris, dwarf iris, is called Bloodstone. And you can see the fritillarias are almost completely finished. They're certainly an unusual flower. I often plant them with other more delicate things around because the tubers smell so badly that usually the voles won't eat the tubers. Of course, they seem to munch the stems, no problem. And the candy tuft and some coral bells. This is peach flambe. And behind it is some liatris and some daylilies. And those really tall, thin irises are Spuria irises, which are an exotic variety that comes from the Mediterranean and blooms in July, August. They're my latest one. And here's the name escapes me. And the white, yeah, it'll be a little later. This beautiful little purple one is Heather's Carpet. It's probably my favorite of all the dwarf irises. And some leftover daffodils that I still have to clip. And you can see that the Baptisia is just starting in on the stems. And generally I don't cut stems until there's been at least 3 days in a row of above 16 degrees, which makes for absolute positivity that all the native bees that are sleeping in the stems, like the Serratinas, will have all woken up and moved on. So That way I don't... Now I added in this new set of rocks on the front entrance. I'm hoping to use them as dog pee lures. Hopefully getting the male dogs to lift their legs in one location instead of 20 along the entire garden. And our pasque flowers are still a few blooms on them. And yeah, you can see the red giant alliums very close to the floor. And more of Heather's carpet. And here's the gigantea and the other alliums. Still some leftover tulips. And another clump of sundrops. And it looks like our peonies aren't too far from. Usually we get, they're like a mid-June. These here that don't have any buds on them, these are all our native nodding onions. And they're later, so that I end up with a nice wave of blossoms. And another baptisia in this location. And this is the sea kale that was so small the last time I was showing you guys. And some more. Yeah, and some of these alliums, some of the smaller alliums are starting to fill out a bit. Yeah, so I think this is going to be a good year. I still haven't taken the stems out of the chelone or the turtle head. And you can see some of our clematis have already started really leaping up. And this peony in front is one of my Itos. It's one of the scarlet ones. And you can see all these chives with their little fat buds. And more peonies over here. And these tall lilies should get eventually about 6 to 8 feet. Those are my tree lilies. And poppies usually bloom about the same time as the peonies. Sadly, the storm that came in totally decimated the blooms on the Susan Magnolia, so she's looking a little ragged. But what can you do? We got all sorts of new growth on the yews. And the Saskatoon berry is finished. Still have some of our late daffodils blooming. And then this is our earliest fern leaf peony already in bloom. And we still have trilliums. Yeah, still have trilliums. Some in our Jack in the Pulpit right there. So the garlics are a little taller, and we've got radishes just filling in the middle until we can have the soil warm enough to be able to plant some beans. And the flowering is finished on the pear apples. It was last week. And the blueberries should be ready to bloom soon. Yes, what are you doing, little chickadee in there? Yeah. Probably looking for bugs. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, our blueberries are going to have a couple of little blooms. This is only their second year in these pots. So we're actually pretty pleased to be able to be getting any blooms whatsoever. And yeah, just a few of the leftover blooms on the yeah. So that's my favorite garden.